1 finals of WGLNA. We saw Fulcrum Gaming take down Cunningham's pretty decisively. Now we're getting ready for our next matchup. It is going to be River of Blood versus Simp, another undefeated team. River of Blood, a team that's been a lot of fun to watch and to see them evolve from an aggressive, whoa, type play style into a team that's been adaptable in the different matches.
Definitely. They still like to be that aggressive team that we always know and love. But as you said, they've dialed it down, and now they're a really potent force to be reckoned with. I'm looking forward to see how they play out. But before we go into that, I want to reintroduce my co-caster. It is Joshua Clutch Gray. He's joined alongside me right now, replacing Frodan. Frodan will be back a little bit later on.
He will be back. He's doing a great job, and we're all very excited to be here. We're excited for this crowd. You guys have been great so far, and we're really excited to have all these teams do so well because so much is on the line. $100,000 prize pool. That is huge, huge for World of Tanks, and it being season 1 for North America to find out who's the best of the best. A lot of things to be excited for.
That's right. Now, just to give you guys a little context, the last match that we have was on the top of the bracket. Now we're moving all the way down to the lower part of the bracket. So the winner of these two teams will not be facing off against Fulcrum Gaming. That'll be chosen a little bit later. But it's important to note, Simp Main against River of Blood is our next team. Now, we talked a little bit about River of Blood. Now let's talk a little bit about Simp. Who are these guys?
These guys are a lot of fun to hang out with. First of all, Mac G and Fej actually live pretty close to the studios that we have in Southern California, and they're a lot of fun to talk to. They're very, very excited when this league got announced, and they've also performed very, very well. And as I told Mac earlier, and also on stage when we did the introductions, these guys, they are on top of their game when Mac is dead.
Yeah, the Mac attack, right? That's what it is. And I have a little bit of statistics for you. For all the games that Simp Main wins, Mac has lived through 66% of the game. So, you know, he's probably a tripwire normally, and then he dies, and he's the one that's calling the action. Of all the games that they lose, though, Mac is living for almost the entire percentage of the game. That means he's not there calling the battles. He has a different perspective, and because of that, he's not able to properly influence the team into victory. Really interesting statistic. We're going to see how Mac G goes and kills himself.
Well, Randall, you have the most experience out of anyone that is here on the desk with Simp because you are a member of their team. Did you find that when Mac G was able to focus down and be the leader, you guys performed better? Or were his scout tactics needed? Was he needed as a scout on the battlefield?
When I was with Simp, I played the role of a scout. So I would pick up the slack there. I'm not saying that Simp is losing on their scouting, but Mac does a fantastic job of commanding over the shoulder. He's just very good about that. He understands how everyone needs to be working together, and he calls very well in that style. He does well enough by himself when he's in, and tier 8 tank, but it's so much easier to call the rest of your team when you're in a T1. You can die, maybe even absorb a good shell, and he's been doing a very good job of playing that style, and it's working great.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, why are we talking about Mac G dying all the time? When you die, you're able to toggle on and off which tank you want to go to in terms of camera view. Now, all of these guys are communicating, whether it be TeamSpeak, whether it be real life. They're all in the know of exactly how things go on through voice. And when Mac G is able to get that perspective and really take everything together and get a good macro view, he's able to make the better calls instead of you trying to manage your tank and at the same time try and position your tank in the most perfect place possible. Mac G is there for you to say, hey, just do this, and they can just gun for that position, gun for that tank, and kill it immediately, or at least execute the orders immediately.
That's right, and having the commander of your team there is very, very important. In a lot of different games, a lot of different styles, even in the military, when everyone has a specific goal, they know what's happening, they have the information presented to them in a very timely fashion because everything is moving so quickly in this game when you have the engagements. That's very, very crucial. Very crucial. Now we're getting the final preparations done for these different players. We want to make sure all their mice and keyboards and everything are good to go so they can play at their most optimal settings. A little bit more about River of Blood before we jump into the face-off here. These guys, again, barely made it into the Season 1 finals. I mean, this was on the playoff day. They had to go through a tiebreaker, and they have performed well in certain scenarios. And in other scenarios, when they're up against teams that have more experience than they do, be it any type of tournament, they crumble a bit against them.
I would say so.
I would say the nerves are going to be very, very high for both these teams because in a live setting in Las Vegas, you're out of your element. But again, you have that adrenaline that's going to be rushing through them. I feel that River of Blood actually can pull that adrenaline more into their talents than maybe Simp can initially for their aggression.
I mean, Simp is the veteran team, but don't forget, a lot of people think that, River of Blood is one of the newer teams. No, they're not. They've been in the industry for quite a long time, and being together, being in that larger environment enables them the ability to have that cool, calm, collect play when they're going to face off against Simp. So what we can expect is they fall back on their preparation. They know exactly what to do against the I wouldn't say conventional, because Simp isn't conventional, but to an extent, they have a lot of the same patterns with how they move, the positions they want to take, and that's something that you can really capitalize on. I think River of Blood, with their aggressive style, they're going to be able to take a lot more map control and positioning just to start it off, and who knows, they can snowball that into a big, big advantage.
Yeah, they definitely can. Well, now it's time to throw it over to Lauren Elise to do the face-off between the two team captains. Lauren, take it away.
Thank you so much. I am here with the next two teams that are ready to battle. To my right, we have River of Blood. To my left, we have Team Simp. These are their team captains. We have Captain Blood, and we have Mac G. Now, you guys are undefeated. You have a lot of fans, a lot of people supporting you. How do you feel today being here in Las Vegas?
We feel great. We're pretty excited. We've had some fun here, and we're looking to keep having fun.
Good. And what about you guys? I know that you've worked really hard to be here. You're proud to be here. We're in an awesome city full of luck. How do you feel?
Really good. My little sister came down from Seattle to watch me. Hey, Nikki. And she's been, her and my mom have been loyally watching. They don't even know what this game was when it started. And they've been watching everything, and now they're telling me, like, did that one tank go the right way? So, hi, Mom.
Shout outs, hashtag. So do you have anything that you would like to say to this guy right behind me? Just pretend he's not there. You can totally trash talk. That's up to you. Just do it.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about Simp. And all the public games I go into, I'm commonly informed by people that sometimes have winning win percents that Simp are stat patters, there's gold using horrors, and they're nothing to worry about. I get that all the time, and so if I hear it like every other game, it must be true.
Oh my God, I love it. Do you have anything that you would like after hearing that? I mean, what's your response?
My response is, Tom, you want to come at me, bro? You best not miss.
Whoa, I can feel the tension rising. So what we're gonna do, since you're in the higher seat, we're gonna do a coin toss. Heads or tails, if you win, you get to pick the map or you can defer it to him. The other team gets to pick the spawning point. Got it? All right, here we go, heads or tails? It is tails, so it goes to you. Would you like to pick the map or defer it?
I will defer.
Which map is it gonna be?
We will take Ensk.
And the spawning point?
South.
You heard it from the men themselves. Please, gentlemen, take your seats. You have 3 minutes to pick your tanks. Good luck, have fun. Let's battle.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Now we got some fight in these two team captains. Always great to see that.
Man, they have so much personality, both of them. And just to make it very clear, both of them have been competing together, but they're also very good friends. A lot of good sportsmanship being shown throughout not only the round of 16, but definitely over here in Vegas. And I'm really happy to see Captain Blood and his team over here in Vegas. Fun fact, they had the most battles out of any team to get here into Vegas.
Out of every team.
Out of every single team, they had to fight the most battles to come here to Vegas.
If you include the shootout, that is true. I can see the factors and the math in that. Rookil, this next map, Ensk.
Yes.
With the stats that we have, Simp is undefeated on this map. But for River of Blood, they're undefeated as well. They just haven't had as many times on it. They fought on this map twice. Simp has fought on this map 5 times. Simp the victor already because of their experience?
I don't know. It's going to be close. I mean, you just said they're undefeated, so I have to give the experience on the map to Simp, but River of Blood is playing very strong. They've come so far as a team. I feel like they're really growing and starting to jump up to that level, join everyone else up near the top at least. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for Simp.
So let me go over probably the main problem that River of Blood had, which was the hesitation factor that we saw. They'd like to be very aggressive, but it would just be maybe 2, 3, 4 seconds where they would hesitate at a very critical point, at a very critical juncture in the game, and they would just lose it all. It's been really unfortunate because we've seen so much potential in them. We've seen potential for them to dominate their opponents, and because of their hesitation, we've seen a lot of volatility, a lot of variance and swings in their wins and losses. That's why I really feel like it could go any way, Simp or River of Blood. It just depends on what River of Blood has done in their preparation stages, what they have done to reduce that hesitation time to really act on their advantages.
And we've seen some very intriguing plays on Ensk. We've seen the predictions sometimes, for example, I'm thinking of Simple Takers, them going down the railroad tracks, going for it right off the bat. All of us being surprised by the type of tactics that they would use, and it would prove to be a victory for them. It was a tough-fought victory in some of those matches. Yeah. So with River of Blood, again, you have these train tracks that cut the map in half. And they can decide to go down those train tracks, which is a big gamble because when you get to the end, it's a bottleneck effect. You don't want that effect when your tank's getting shot at. You need to spread out as quickly as you can, return fire, get those alpha strikes when possible, and try to do as much damage first. But if you're the ones getting hit hard right off the bat, especially your IS-3s, your AMX 5100s are incapacitated and they stop the rest of the flow, that is bad. That is a huge gamble you take going down the rails. So for the most part, we'll see these teams decide, you know, if they're to the northern position, they'll go all the way to the west and then come down the building side. And then, you know, sometimes in the south, we've seen a couple tanks go over to the east, but that's back before the 8.6 days, before the changes to artillery. So we're still seeing some different types of plays and some different types of executions halfway through the game on this map.
Yeah, and River of Blood, definitely the innovators. We've seen them do really crazy stuff, as you were saying, and they can mix it up yet again. They can introduce something that we haven't seen really after the 8.6 patch, which was, as you said, very detrimental to the artillery. Who knows? They might bring their artillery for themselves. I do want to mention something very important about River of Blood. I talked about it a little bit with the Cunninghams, but also for River of Blood. If you look at all their players statistically, you're not seeing top number 1 in this or number 2 in that or number 3 in whatever it might be. They're all very mediocre players, right? Statistically speaking.
Yeah, within the entire pool of players here. We're not saying
pro
we're not
players,
saying the pub games, guys. We're
No.
talking about all the pros that are in NA. They're in the mid-range stat-wise.
Exactly. So when you're in the top 8, what that tells me is that you have an extremely intelligent leader that knows how to lead their team. They have good plans, they have good execution with the plans, and the people that listen to him follow him, right? You can't have success with just mediocrity if you don't have a good plan. If you have a bad plan and mediocre players, you're just going to fall flat.
Yeah, and falling flat, it can happen in a variety of different ways. If your commander tells you to do something and you challenge it or doubt it, that window to execute that command is gone. Yeah. And now you could have put the entire team, the entire rank, the entire tournament for your team in a very bad place. And you could cost your team thousands of dollars. That's what it's coming down to. So the stakes are very, very high. And for all these teams, I'm sure they've been sitting down, practicing, honing in what to do when things go wrong, what to do when your plan of attack completely goes out the window. And that's the difference between teams that make it in the 3rd, 4th place and the teams that make it to 1st place, is what do you do when things go wrong?
Now, another thing I want to mention, by the way, is the fact that tank lineups, we've been seeing diversity in the tank lineup on Ensk for Team River of Blood specifically. They've been choosing a more IS-3 heavy lineup. We've seen them go 3 or 4 IS-3s on this map before. That's really cool. I'll explain that a little bit more because we're heading into game.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. I want to see as loud as you can get for these two teams as we start off the match of Simp versus River of Blood on Ensk. Let's battle. Andre, what do we have for the tank selection?
150, 100, and 4 IS-3s with 2 T1s. I love you guys, River of Blood. On the other side, we have an AMX 5100, 2 IS-3s, and 2 T69s. Now, I've said it so many different times. I like the 4 IS-3s. The alpha damage is so incredibly high, you can still draw it out. So that is a little bit of hope for them.
Not anymore. Mac G is dead.
Oh, wrong move. Mac G dying. That means Simp is going to win.
Adrox is able to kill Arg at the T1. So again, Simp is up 1 T1 at this time with Bej. Blue Boys captain the T69 still camping down the railroad scene if River of Blood's going to try to push anytime soon down the middle area. He is seeing nothing though, as River of Blood does have a little bit of a spread to the south, but no one is spotted at this time on either team.
Still, I mean, they're going to wait it out. Remember, those IS-3s are good in a pretty long, drawn-out battle. They can use their HP pool to great effects, and on top of that, of course, their consistent fire can really take out a lot of those auto-loaders. So for an auto-loader lineup, and I'm not saying it's a complete auto-loader lineup, but 2 T69s and an AMX 5100 out for Team Simp, that is 3 out of the 5 tanks that are auto-loaders. You can get out all your damage in the last maybe 15 seconds to 20 seconds of the battle. Just wait until then, and if we're going to see any engagements, they're going to pop out at 30 seconds. But as you can see on the screen, they're staying put on their side of the map, all the way on their side of the flag. And we're going to have a draw for game number 1.
The same for Simp. They're just going to hold down next to the railroad line. Blue Boys captain again, holding the same position, thinking, all right, nothing is happening, guys. I'm going to pull back. This is going to be a draw. Let's save our energy, save our resources of our different strategies. Again, each of these teams have strategies for each map that some of them don't want to reveal for the quarterfinals. They feel confident moving into the semifinals or the finals themselves, and that is a factor. But unfortunately, none of those plays are able to be completely executed here, as we do hit 0, and it will be a draw between these two teams. But it's only battle number 1, as we have a best of 7 between these two. We will come. Everybody, welcome back. A draw, it happens, but that's part of the game. And as we get ready for battle number 2, it is going to be on Abbey. And this is a map that we talked about. River of Blood did not win a single battle on this map during Season 1. Simp may know this. Because of this, I tremble a bit for River of Blood, but maybe they can pull this out.
You know, a lot of times when you have a big break before a finals like this, you go over not only your strengths, what you're good at, making sure you're honing your skills and able to take out the top premier teams, but you also look at your weaknesses. And I'm sure River of Blood went back to Abbey and said, let's redesign a new strategy for this. Now that excites me, because we're probably going to see something from River of Blood that we haven't seen before. That, or we're going to see a much more improved, honed style than what we've been seeing in the past.
A honed style indeed, and each of these teams, some of them more experienced than others, are having their styles honed. Now, Ruka, I want you to comment on this. You have been a pro gamer for a while. You were involved in the World of Tank scene. You still are for a long time. What was your journey like from your first tournament to becoming a full-time commentator? What type of honing did you have to go through as a light tank scout?
I started out medium scouting because light tanks used to not be so viable. Then what happened is Tier 5 lights came, and they were super point efficient. The T-52, which is now gone from the game, used to be a fantastic choice for a tank. Now it's gone. And you've got tanks like the Pershing, the T-69, which are highly mobile, have great damage output, and are great balance. And I used to like those, but then you had tanks like the 1390 and the WZ-131 and 132 come out, and those are super mobile tanks that I felt like increased the capabilities of your team and certain players. I felt like that was a lot of growth in the game, and players have grown along with the game. There have been changes that really threw many players off, especially commanders for certain teams. RD changes, especially recently, have thrown a lot of teams off their game a little bit. They had to realign themselves, find different strats, that kind of thing. It's very difficult sometimes.
Well, just looking at the tanks so far that we have coming out from River of Blood, throughout the season, we have an AMX 1390, an AMX 5100, a WZ-132, a T-32, and a T-69, all played on this map. Now, normally you only play a max of maybe 3 different Tier 8 tanks, but normally we see 2 different Tier 8 tanks, like AMX 1390s, T-69s, that's about it. But we have such unconventional playstyles. Of course, the 5100s, the WZ-132, the T-32 being chosen. That's why I'm saying River of Blood can be throwing out anything here. I'm looking forward to see what they're actually choosing.
You have mobility, you have armor, and you have damage output. It's trying to find the balance of your teams, your tanks, and what you choose. Now it's time to see who's going to take battle number 2 on Abbey. Let's get it started.
let's take a look. River of Blood is sporting a 5100, 2 T-69s, and 2 1390s, focusing more on those French tanks. They don't have the best depression, but you can see the 1390s are good for a lot of mobility, getting good flanks, getting good crossfire, and of course they are autoloaders. 5100s, definitely the glass cannon. On the other side, a 5100 and IS-3, 2 T-69s and a 1390. A lot of different tanks out for Simp.
Different strategies that can happen, and it's so important if you have autoloaders compared to more of the heavy armor type tanks, where you engage your enemy, especially on this map. And Rootkill, what are we seeing so far for the enemy movements?
For River of Blood, this is an interesting strat. They're going to be taking the Abbey. Most teams actually haven't been doing that as much lately, especially in North America. They've almost ignored it entirely and just gone past it or took a different route. We've got kind of, this is similar to what we've seen from, I think we saw Cazadores pull something like this, taking the Abbey, then also taking some tanks into the east. So I think this might be an imitation of that kind of strat. They may have liked it a lot, because it does kind of, it has some cool positioning. I feel like it's exploitable by Simp. I feel like Simp could easily counter this if they knew what was coming or they scattered it out properly. But, hey, nice spotting.
Endo is going to take 2 shots down to 912 hit points out of 1400. Nicely done. Trying to spot into the Abbey. You know what, Ruka, I'm actually going to disagree with you. I think the Abbey is the best way to play this map, but I want to get your take on why you think it can be punished. What are the ways that it can be punished? And then I'll, of course, go over my different theories about it.
Well, I can see why you just now thought that. It's because they got that great early fire. That's the strength that they can get. They get a nice spot into the west, especially with new camo. That will actually spot Endo. It used to not be that way. The great early fire from there is, it indicated to Simp where their enemies were, where River of Blood is, and from there they can probably come up with some nice counter moving. Fedge gets spotted over here and fires coming out, but Simp now can either choose to avoid the Abbey, go all the way around, maybe find their way into the east road and catch out a tank or two. And if they can do that, they could get 8 points for free or for very little cost, just a little health points or something. And if they decide to attack the Abbey, if they can put some proper crossfire, maybe some cover from the west while bringing some tanks in from around the south, they could probably attack this position. And it actually looks like they might get R for free, as he is going way out there. No cover on that T1 tank.
The live crowd here is able to hear the shot callers, the commanders, the ones that are calling the shots for both these teams. We heard Fulcrum many times, Friction calling out what to happen, and behind us we can hear River of Blood talking over TeamSpeak to coordinate what's happening. And it's actually one of the coolest things about having these players here live, to see how they coordinate, how they communicate. Because we see it on the battlefield, we see what happens, but when you can connect it to real life, it really is a sight to see. So if you're close by, if you can make it out to the finals here in Las Vegas, I implore you to do so. And we will have more events in the future, live events, and make sure to make it out to those, because it is a lot of fun and it's quite an experience to be able to see this live.
Captain Blood is going to do some blind fire, trying to take out Fej over there. He knows he's in the corner, and of course he's using Sixth Sense to really know exactly when he's being spotted, and then trying to triangulate the position of his opponent, but of course not being able to connect. You know, going back to our discussion really quick, Rootkill, the reason why I like the Abbey is because once you take the Abbey, your opponents have to retake the Abbey. And the reason why I say that is because there's such beautiful crossfire on your cap defensively and offensively, but more so defensively, right? And with that crossfire, your other tanks could be anywhere, and you can have just the most ridiculous arc if someone tries to do a fast cap. The reason why that's tough is all of a sudden the aggressive team needs to take the Abbey to stop that from happening, stop huge arcs from happening, and then they can go for a cap. So you limit the aggressive options by simply taking the Abbey, and then you can put on your own aggressive options directly after that. Even though it's not nearly as strong as other things aggressively, I still feel like it's a nice balance between being aggressive and maintaining a strong defensive posture.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a strong point, and it's probably similar to just taking center board in chess. Great map control, great vision, except for the fact that, you know, if your enemy pushes the west side, you could say they have some great fire, because in order to defend your own base from when you spawn in the south, if you're in the Abbey, you have to kind of put yourself out on a pedestal.
That's true.
And you're really exposed. There's one good building that's cover, that does cover you a little bit if you want to shoot back at cap, but in order to actually get shots out from the Abbey, you have to expose yourself.
Simp was playing the patient game for a while, but now they were able to spot one of the River of Blood members moving up that west road. The readjustment that Riverblood has made more on the aggressive side, going halfway up the map again, but this time in a different area, not on Abbey. They had great map control with the spread that they have. They have one of their T1, at least one of their light tanks all the way on the east road, trying to see what type of things you can see from Simp. Now shots fired against Blue Boy's captain. He tries to land a hit himself, does not hit, but there goes one of the T1s from Adroxis as they try to line up some shots just around the bend. However, the crossfire that can happen if one of these flanks falls will be detrimental to the other side.
And you have to keep in mind, T69 being played by Doppler all the way on the side is very, very far away. Now the initiation has started. Adroxis is going to tank a couple of the fires in the beginning. The IS-3 is so sturdy in terms of his hit points and that spaced armor. Such an intelligent choice, and all of a sudden, a big retreat into what? What is he retreating into?
Into a graveyard of tanks. Is what it's going to be here pretty soon. Savagey took a lot of hits, though, in that engagement.
Really unfortunate, because all of a sudden, what they do, Savagey and Striker, they're making it so they cannot join the fight again. So the 1390 and the T69 are going to be just sitting ducks, literally. Not the aim of 61.
And there goes another 1390. The 5100 did get killed by Adroxis, but Crimson Corsair gets the kill against Captain Blood. Their captain is down, and now they're on cleanup crew trying to get any more shots they can against the heavy tank. The 5100 Canadoc goes down from Crimson Corsair, mopping up in this game again. Now they're going to continue on the hunt as they try to land another hit against the T69. Doppler took 2 hits before he has to fall back behind that hill, and now Adroxis and Crimson will chase him down as Blue Boy's captain's going to go the other way to make sure the north side is going to be well defended.
Adroxis, 14 hit points. The second shot was not able to connect by Doppler. Now he only has 1 shell left. He's not going to be able to kill anybody, and the chase has been given. Doppler just 1 shot away from dying, and down he goes. Simp taking a gigantic lead in game number 2.
Savagey, Striker, and Laps, the only ones left alive. It's 2 tier 8s and 1 T1 versus a number of tier 8 tanks, 4 of them, and 2 T1s. Simp looking very, very good right now. Their base is under attack, but they'll be able to get there in time, hopefully. And well, the T1 Mac G now cruising in to try to stop or at least slow down that cap here.
Well, on top of that, it should be noted that Fedge in
oh
the
my
T1
God, he did it again.
He can pen the 69 a little bit, and he can definitely pen the 1390. So he could stop the cap. On top of that, I believe we got some fire coming in from some other angle. Don't know where.
He stopped the cap twice already. Unreal against Savagey. 18 seconds left, though. Are they able to cut back in time? That's going to be the big question.
Fedge and Blue Boy's captain are getting close, so they're going to go just up this hill and try to land some shots here. Mac G trying to line up. Will he penetrate the T1? Well, Blue Boy's captain gets the penetration against the T1, and he is able to, resetting the score. Mac G and the T1 goes down. He is dead, which means Simp is going to win this game as Striker. 1 more shot, and he's going to go down, and he does. Simp is able to take it in battle number 2. We'll be back after this. Andre, what do we have for tank selection?
Oh, baby. 4 IS-3s and a single 5100 over on the side of River of Blood. Really favoring those IS-3s all throughout and also favoring aggression. Now, 2 5100s, 2 T69s, and an IS-3 over for Team Simp. Very, very standard. Well, let's go ahead and find out. Nope, they're just going into position. Okay, so taking the west side for Team River of Blood. Let me ask, what is the other team doing? Simp, it looks like they're being a bunch of trolls.
It's some hill play, and what I mentioned a couple times towards the end of Season 1 season play, there wasn't a whole lot of hill play going on. It was very, very slow. A couple T1s would go up there, and not a lot of pushing happening. But now Simp, maybe realizing the factor of, hey, the hill play is not being used as much in the metagame, let's do it. And so now they have 2 great positions for their T1s. They have 1 at the E7 position, and they have 1 at the K1 position. Both those T1s can spot, are they going down Tank Alley, or are they pushing the west side train tracks into our spawn point? If they are, we need to pull back, get the shots across, and be able to stop them trying to get that point.
You know, I think this is incorrect, though. Against conventional play, you can see that T1 Tripwire, who is going to go down laps, is going to signal to everybody else, go, 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 push the west side. And against a conventional team that plays a lot more defensive, I would say yes, but River of Blood takes a little bit more map control, and they're going to have the jump going over and trying to get over to the flag to have favorable engagements. Fedge will go down all the way on the side. Will River of Blood push all the way up now?
Simp was hesitating a little bit because they're trying to figure out what River of Blood is doing. Now they are pulling back, going back down the south side of the hill, but Endo is waiting. They're waiting. They're going to try to see if it's going to be a fake or not. I don't think they're going to wait anymore. Now they're going to execute.
See,
going down.
This is the hesitation we were talking about. River of Blood, we're signaling to push forward. Now they're going to go all the way back. Now, that does seem very, very smart at the same time, saying, okay, well, we have mainly IS-3s. We want the confrontation. We do not want to go for a flag cap. Let's try to see if they're going to go and try to base race. And if they're lucky, what Simp will do is break off. Some go to cap. Maybe 1 or 2 tanks go to cap. And then the rest go back to anticipate some sort of defense of flag caps.
They did leave behind one of the T1s that's remaining. R is all the way on the west side, and will Simp push over that side? No, they're taking it slow. Some of them are actually going up 2-tank alley as one of the heavy tanks has stopped, just waiting for the rest of his teammates to come across, as they don't have the eyes and ears that River of Blood has. They are down 2 T1 Cunninghams compared to River of Blood, who's just down 1.
Yeah.
Again, the factor of that, map control, positioning, information gathering, that's going to be crucial in any type of engagements where River of Blood can get the jump on Simp, knocking down any one of these heavy tanks. Initially, the IS-3, if you're able to lock that down, there is a huge wall you just took out in a city map like this. In the AMX 5100s, glass cannons, but if they unload a couple rounds in their drum and they have to reload, you can push in and get the victory.
That's right, and we're going to see if they actually utilize that. Of course, battles shouldn't really last that long, in my opinion, with these IS-3s on board. They just do so much ridiculous damage. I do want to be critical on River of Blood. I do feel like they could have taken a lot more map control off of the early stages. Yes, they do threaten, or Simp does threaten some sort of cap pressure, but they got to realize, hey, Simp didn't really scout out where the majority of my tanks are. I can push this knowing that they think I have a very big positional advantage so far. I can go for that flag cap and realize that taking that center control, we talk about it in chess all the time. We talk about it in World of Tanks all the time. Once you have center control, you can go back and defend if you need to. You can also attack if you need to. You're just in a much better position to react to things. Losing that map control, they have to start all over again. Now, this is a little bit of a risk that they're going and pushing up the hill, but of course, we know Simp isn't really up there.
No, it is a risk because of the placement that Simp has right now. They have the tank alley guarded, and they have the approach from the hill guarded. And if they are able to lock down, for example, the 8 line to the south, the 5 line, and getting that crossfire moving in, using those buildings to stop the push down. Again, it's that bottleneck effect. They get those shots, they pull back. They get a couple more shots, they're able to pull back. Now the HP pool is way in favor of Simp. So if they're able to lock down those shots, they could do it. However, if River of Blood, if they don't stop, if they continue this aggression and push out together and then get that spread down those 2 alleys, 1 on the 8 line, the rest on the K line, and they get at least 2 heavy tanks or 1 heavy tank and 1 T-69, they're going to be looking really, really good to clean up the rest of Simp. But it could be a very fast firefight, and it's all going to depend on who gets those first shots and who gets those first penetrations.
As you can see, the IS-3s are pushing down all the way to the 0 line, all the way in 0K, or K0. That seems a lot more reasonable. And the IS-3s are going to poke out now and just see, is there anything behind the bend?
Nope, nothing is spotted, and still on the minimap, nothing has been spotted for either team. But as they do approach closer and closer, one of the pings is going to go off on this minimap.
Oh, and here we go. Blue Boys captain is going to be focused. One of the 3 shots get hit.
Another one
hits.
hits.
Captain, he needs to be careful because that 5100 does still need a lot of time to unleash all of its shells.
And Stryker up on the top of the hill trying to get some shots in that opening, but Adroxus and Crimson Corsair are able to lock him down. 504 out of 1400 HP for him. And now the scramble is taking place as River of Blood is going down the 2 alleyways to try to get that surround. If they're able to line this up with this flank, this will be great for them. But now Simp is in a great defensive position as they try to turn the corner and shut him down.
I don't know, Clutch. I actually think that I like the positioning of River of Blood a lot better. There's much better crossfire. There's 2 different paths for crossfire. And the fact of the matter is, the IS-3s are able to brawl much better than their opponent's tanks. So we're going to see a lot of damage being done to the team of Simp. Crimson Corsair down to 532 hit points. Only 2 shots away from dying from any of those IS-3s.
Adroxus himself takes a hit.
Nice.
Another one goes against Blue Boys Captain. That's the type of hit Doppler wants to execute, but now Captain Blood is being chased by Heavy 20 Endo, and Adroxus is going to turn around the corner. Will they be able to get another shot on Endo? No, they stick on Heavy 20, but he's going to back out. Captain Blood goes down, but Canada gets the kill in the AMX 5100. IS3 from Savagey and Striker in the 5100 trying to get some more shots. One more hit on Striker. He will go down, but the Heavy 20 T69 moving out on his own. Is he trying to scout? He's trying to be sacrificial because guess what? His buddy is dead, and so is he. Nice shots coming from River of Blood.
And Striker is still in a battle. Don't forget that. 16 to 25 points in the crossfire, 10 times better for the River of Blood team. Canada gonna now give chase ammo rack on that T1 Cunningham, but Endo and Crimson Corsair are so low, and let me tell you, they're probably clipping right now, trying to run away, knowing that that IS-3 has slightly less travel time than the other tanks.
There's so much talent in these teams. If there's two people that can pull this off, it is Endo and Crimson Corsair. Endo in the lead with Crimson Corsair behind the T69. Are they going to cross through the courtyard? No, they're just doing some scouting, but they know that their base is about a minute away from being captured completely. A little bit less than a minute now as multiple tanks are on it. Simp's going to have to.
I really don't like the positioning for Striker. I feel like he should be going into a flanking position rather than being one of the main capturers, but the IS-3s are going to start giving it cover. Still, you can snake around shots. You can basically attack the 5100 anywhere, and it will be penetrated, so you have to be very careful with that, but here we go. The positioning is good. Endo needs to snake around that entire place. No, that's it.
It's captured. It's captured. That is a victory for River of Blood. We've got a match here, folks. We'll be back after this. Andre, what do we have for tanks?
4 AMX 1390s and a single T69 for River of Blood, favoring that very light heavy style. But on the other side, we have 3 1390s and 2 T69s. So both these teams are really favoring the very dynamically changing battlefields where you constantly have to readjust where your tanks are positioned. This is going to come down to...
Whoa, shots fired against Striker. It's going to come down to who's able to get that first shot, and they were able to. That is big. Another shot against Captain Blood. Simp already shutting down River of Blood in their places right now.
Definitely so. Really nice shots coming out there. You know, from those 1390s, they're wickedly inaccurate. So to be able to connect to those two players, Striker and Captain Blood, with that low health pool, you have to be really worried. And I feel like River of Blood is going to chill out because of that.
Yeah, the position, again, having to reset. Randall, your thoughts, too, on this map. The east side, the Death Valley, as we call it. We've seen a lot of engagements there. Is it going to be a standstill for a while? Is it in Simp's court to move, or is it River of Blood's time to move?
The longer River of Blood waits here, the worse it's going to get for them. The more time it gives Simp to adjust and then cut off Captain Blood and Striker, find an angle that their allies cannot support them at, and then just destroy those two tanks. Because the thing is, both Striker and Captain Blood cannot escape here safely. And they're going to try to do this, and actually we're seeing Simp move up now and actually begin to work to try and kill Captain Blood and Striker, get that 16-point lead early in the game. Probably it won't cost them much if they do it right.
No, and it can be a game-winning lead as well. Fej in the T1 scouting for his Simp buddies going, guys, I can see him. Take the shot when you can. If they pop out behind the rock, Striker, whoa, gets the kill against Fej, taking out the fly that was buzzing in his ear. But Blue Boys uses this opportunity to move up to the rocks in cover as Striker in the 1390 will be down one of the rounds in its 6-barrel drum.
But he can easily just go ahead and reload kind of safely. Actually, he better not have reloaded. I was wrong, because Crimson Corsair and Blue Boys captain is pushing up here. Captain Blood going to be focused down first. Then Striker goes down an early 16-point lead, and River of Blood is not looking too good. Now Savagey is going to come up here and try to take advantage of these clipping tanks. Those 1390s and the T69s take a long time to reload, but Heavy 20 is going to get in time.
Heavy 20 moving up quickly to help out his friends, going, guess what, guys? I got a full tank of gas and a full drum of shells, and he just unloaded on Savagey. Canada now moving across the T69 as Dopper is taking more hits to the rear of Canada Duck as those two battle buddies are now out in the open fields, and Simp is going to be able to clean this up as these are the last two Tier 8 tanks remaining, except for the the other ones that are on the field right now are the T1 Cunninghams, and all they can do in this type of firefight is try to put pressure on the flag cap.
That's right. I mean, this is such an unfortunate position to be in. Right in the beginning stages, you lose so much health, and then you lose 2 tanks. From there, what can you really do? You have no escape routes. It really comes down to the early openings and where you're positioning your tanks right off the bat. You can't do that. Of course, River of Blood trying to be very aggressive, but Simp ready to shut that down immediately. Dopper is the only tier 8 tank left. Arg and Laps are on the other side of the field, but as we can see, Blue Boy's captain is going to try to chase them down ASAP.
He will. That's the defense right now on the west side, trying to chase down those T1s just in case anything happens. You know, oh, the T1 Arg, you're going to get crashed into. Blue Boy's captain's able to take him down. Only one left alive is Laps in the T1, and it's going to be a chase as Heavy 20 and the rest of his teammates on Simp are going to find him and kill him. That's the nature of the beast, folks. Even the little guys have to go down here. The victory can be a capture or destroy your enemy's tanks. Mac G trying to line up a shot against Laps. He's behind the railroad tracks. He's not going to be able to, however. And no, he tries to get a couple hits, but nothing lands against Laps. But now Blue Boy's captain, the 1390, is going to finish this off.
Yep. Very well played by Simp. Ladies and gentlemen, they're going to take the lead 2-1. Up.
If Blue Boys can land his hit.
Nice shot.
There he goes. There he goes. All right. Simp is able to take battle number 4. And they are one battle closer to make it to the semifinals.
5100s and 3 IS-3s on the side of River of Blood, where we have 2 5100s, 2 C-69s, and a 1390 on the side of Simp. So you can see a very conventional style for both of the teams. Both of them like to do this. IS-3s galore for River of Blood, favoring that alpha damage. And I have to say, 3 is the magic number. I've said this multiple times. If all 3 shoot the same target, then only one of the shots from the 5100s have to shoot that last, well, the target that was prioritized, and then all of a sudden, you're 1 tank down if you're the opposing team. So this is really, really nice. A very clear strategy going into the western side. Rootkill, talk to me.
I like this west side push. I really like it. It's very strong, and I'd say
It's
I'm not
strong
sure
enough they're able to hold it?
I'm not sure where they're going to go with it.
Because in mid-game, that's what I'm thinking too. Where are they
Yeah.
going to go with this mid-game as we reach the 5-minute mark?
Yeah, it's interesting. They could go down the mid F line, and from there they could find themselves in a bottleneck. But the thing is, they haven't even found a T1 from the enemy team, so
Yeah.
it's not really getting them anywhere. And when Strat doesn't get anywhere, it's hard to talk about what it's gonna do or what it could have done.
It's hard to see the possibilities coming out of that. But being on that side of the map, now where Simp is in the Delta Village, usually the north side's going to go that way. That's what we've seen 80% of the time.
Yeah.
And the south, because they have to go through more terrain and it's a longer range to get to, depending on where they spawn, it's a tougher fight for them sometimes. We've seen some great flanking encounters, and Greetorp, you brought this up on this map, how it's not as much as a draw anymore compared to what it was, because these teams are realizing the potential of turning those corners down the 6th line and getting those flanks and spreading their opponents out.
I think the most important thing is the fact that the south position realizes that the cap pressure is just so powerful, and that Delta Village, that normally you have that eastern control, all of a sudden, yes, you have good entries because you could be coming in from any way, but if you absolutely take the east side super fast, you can normally kill a T1. Now that limits the amount of eyes that you have on the map for, you know, the north side, and all of a sudden you can't enter nearly as well. And being from the south, you can cap your opponents can't cap you. This open space over here in the southern side is a really unattractive place to camp a lot of your tanks down and just sit there forever. It's just really terrible.
First shots fired, Endo takes down Arg in the T1. Is there going to be any more recompense? Looks like it was a long shot for him too.
Yeah, it wasn't so hard. But the thing is, I saw Arg recognize that he was spotted. He even said help.
That uh-oh moment.
Yeah, he even said help to us. Seen the little icon pops up. He said help, and then he actually backed off for a second, but then he went back forward again, which confused me. I don't think that was the right move. He should have known he was spotted and just left altogether, found good cover, because as you saw, he did just die for that. When you know you're spotted, sometimes it's actually better to not keep going forward.
Well, it's that type of can I sacrifice myself to get some energy, some information for my team?
Well,
But that wasn't the case.
Yeah,
really.
he didn't have any real cover fire from the rest of his team. They were half a map away on the west side, and it would have been nice if they'd gotten some spotting. There could have been some shots from the west all the way down the up line, maybe into the Delta Village but the draw distance limitations makes it so you really can't even make those shots. Tanks won't even show up. They don't draw on your screen at that range.
And it's 445 meters.
No, that's the vision range.
That's the vision range.
The draw distance varies because it draws on a box.
Yes.
So it varies based on where you are on a map.
Roger that, Randall. Thank you very much. I actually look forward to seeing you in the All-Star game to see how you're going to use your tank expertise up against some of these other players here.
I want to play a top.
The Talk.
Will
Talk
you guys let
2,
me do
my
that?
first premium tank I ever purchased, and I don't have it anymore.
Oh, well, that's really too bad because it's a beautiful tank. It's a majestic warship.
It is a boat.
Coming from the IS-3, you need to take the entire map of steps in order to reverse angle. So it's like, don't want to play that tank.
That's very
But
true.
anyway.
Simp holding down in the Delta Village. They're starting to move a little bit more to the west as they get into the city side of Ruinberg. The split happens at 6. There's the IS-3 spot on Savagey. Blue Boys captain adjusting accordingly. Can he land a shot? Savagey going behind the building. Both deciding, you know what, not going to be worth it. I'm going to back out here and not take another hit.
Savagey did not spot in return.
He was not able to spot Blue Boys captain, so
didn't
that
spot Blue.
is an information victory for the moment for Simp.
But of course, the Sixth Sense, you don't want to forget that. So he knows he has been spotted. He knows indicators of his opponent saying, okay, well, I can't actually see you, but I know you can see me. That means you're outside of my range to actually spot you. I know, at least, let's say a good 300 to 400 meters at the very least. That's the distance between us. Okay, I know you're all the way in the Delta Village. Let me go ahead and act based on that information.
The buildup is starting to get closer and closer here as River of Blood is moving into the enemy territory past the midsection of the map. They are passing the E line. That are getting closer to lining up what could be a flag cap, a base cap, as they try to inch in closer and closer. But Simp, again, their spread is defensive enough and spread out enough where they have their T1 Cunninghams to see any type of movement against their base. They can fall back from the Delta Village across the TIE Fighter. That is that section that looks like an inverted TIE Fighter up in the northeast side. And we don't see a lot of engagements happening in that section except ones that are backing out. There's the spot now coming from the city side. 3 tanks have been spotted on the side of Simp. Now 4 River of Blood has been seen, and Simp is going to adjust accordingly. They're going to fall back into those positions across the TIE Fighter to try to stop this push.
And only Fedge has been spotted at this point, so the information is hugely in favor of Simp right now, as they are going to cover laps on the cap.
And look what tank Fedge is in. The L Tractor realizing, hey, Captain Blood is probably going to go for a base cap. Let's go into something that can definitely penetrate every single tank except the IS-3. So the 5100s, of course, the T1s. Here we go. Fire's going to shoot off.
Yep. 20 seconds left on the cap. IS-3 trying to guard the T1 as Striker in the 5100 moving back and forth. 12 seconds left. Simp's going to have to get a reset soon. They have 8 seconds now. It's getting closer and closer.
Endo is going to round the corner along with the Droxus. They're going to be lit up immediately. Endo is down to 506 health, and he will go down. Captain Blood and Savagey very healthy in those IS-3s. Taking down Adroxus down to 283 hit points, and he goes down. Now Blue Boys captain all the way down to 60 hit points. Oh my goodness, this is so good for Captain Blood and River of Blood.
They keep getting the resets, but they get the kills that they need. And the less tier 8 tanks they have to deal with, the better. With 5 of their tier 8s still left alive, the only tank that has gone down is the T1. They're trading shots. Striker gets Mac G. Blue Boys captain, one of the 1390 still left alive, has 60 hit points. Canada Duck now getting across as he sees Heavy 20, and Crimson Corsair gets a shot against Heavy 20. Nice hit, but he's going to go down here pretty quickly unless he tries to get one more. That is big, big, big damage against Heavy 20, and there is the flat cap. Can they hold it?
Yes, they can.
They can. River of Blood. River of Blood. WZ-132. I'm already intrigued. Retorp, tell me more.
All right, a T-32 being played by Savagey, 2 T-69s and Ensk 1390. And as you said it, that WZ-132 being played by Captain Blood as we know it. On the other side, Team Simp, 2 AMX 1390s, 2 T69s, and an AMX 5100. Everything is pretty standard. I would say the 5100 is probably the most unconventional thing in that lineup, and even that isn't nearly as
Shots fired against Endo as he gets hit from the WZ-132 as Simp tries to move up into the mine area. A lot of tanks moving up there, except 2 of their scouts. One going water side, the other heading over to the east side. Now Crimson Corsair and Androxus are at the Death Rocks, or what's the proper name for the rocks?
Huh?
Rootkill, the proper name for those rocks?
These are just the rocks, the entrance to the mine. The Rock of Death is
The Rock of Death.
Yes, that is. Well, is there someone actually at the Rock of Death right now where tanks go to die?
That's very true. We have 2 of them.
Two
Not
of them?
just one, yeah.
Ooh.
2 of them, Crimson Corsair and Androxus. But now, with Simp in that area, they do have the high ground, but the advantage of the mines, as we've seen in different maps, can sway to if you try to pull your opponent out or go for the flag cap when you're undetected. That's going to be nigh impossible, though, because of the ability to scout anything moving towards you on the mine section. But what do we see for River of Blood?
This is a really weird push. I did not expect this, an east side push. Now, the reason why the east, Blue Boys Captain poking out, taking a shot over on Captain Blood immediately. This is why it's so easy to proxy spot your opponents. And then all of a sudden, even if you push into favorable positions, or at least a position to be aggressive, you can be completely surrounded by the high ground and also by the low ground. This is a really, really tough situation for all these players to be in. And now Adroxus is going to be prioritized, but there are 2 tanks, Heavy 20 and Crimson Corsair on the high ground, able to dish out damage.
Yeah, and that damage from the high ground is huge for Simp right now. Doppler, Captain Blood taking a lot of hits. Savagey, Striker, Canada Duck have not taken any hits to their HP pool. But Blue Boys Captain in his 1390 is trying to land another shot, but not overexposing himself. Canada Duck gets hit. He's at 1099 out of 1350 HP. Another shot against Doppler. Now they're choosing their targets, and the enemy base is being captured. River of Blood has some aggression. Most of their tanks are down to the side of the hill. They're in trouble.
Yeah, really, really misplay going to this east side. You can see the dominance of that top control. You can even probably see a Goomba coming up here pretty soon, as Doppler is almost at 106 hit points, and no.
I don't think they're going to go for it, Greetor. There's too much on the line, but that would be funny to see. Blue Boys Cap almost lining up the shot. There's the kill. Crimson Corsair taking down Doppler. Canada and Striker still circling around. He is trying to use anything he can to get some shots against the people that are on the higher ground, but the elevation on the gun of the T69 is not the best, and he is too close to the hill to get those shots. Now Blue Boys Cap moving in from the rear, trying to get the hit against the T32. Savagey, shots fired and a miss from Blue Boys Cap on that, but Endo again tries to hit against the T32. There's a shot fired. Captain Blood coming up the hill, but he's going to go down pretty quickly as Simp is in a defensive position.
He's not going to go down. He's going to take cover
points
behind the Rock of Death. He's going to go down to 12 hit points, actually, and he could actually help kill Adroxus here.
But no, it's not going to happen. Adroxus will live 125 hit points left, but Captain Blood will go down to a ram by that T69. Canada is 1 shot away from dying. Blue Boys Captain lining up the shot. Maybe he doesn't have anything. No, he doesn't have any shots left, and Striker kind of knows this. He's getting ready to deal damage against Crimson Corsair, but Crimson Corsair is putting out a couple of shots here. He is finally clipping. 277 damage being done by Blue Boys Captain now.
Oh, Striker crashes. Talking about falling. Talking about falling.
And that's it. Simp will take battle number 6, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go into battle number 7 after this. Don't go anywhere. You're watching WGLNA Finals.
Already moving out halfway across the map, we have Simp from the north, and to the south we have River of Blood. What are the tank selection?
Take a look. 5100, 2 T69s and two AMX 1390s, followed by an L tractor and a T1. Keep in mind that L tractor has really, really good pen with its stock gun, almost 75 pen, and on top of that, it is able to have a slightly better view range than that T1 Cunningham, especially good on open maps.
Randall, what do we see at map position? I see Simp in the center and River of Blood. They're taking the east side?
Far east they are going, and they're actually going to put 2 1390s, Captain Blood and Striker are going way north, leaving the rest of the team behind. I don't know if this will be the smartest idea. If Simp can find one of these 1390s out, or both of them out, they could get them both in an overmatch situation where the 5100 and the T69 might not be able to keep up. But it does look like with Simp's positioning, they're not going to be able to do that.
All right, well, the first engagement might happen over here. Blue Boys Captain going to spot out Captain Blood. Who's the better captain, guys?
Well, we're going to find out when they can execute here. They do have a shot fired against Heavy 20. He does take the first alpha damage here in this battle. But Fej in the T1 trying to scout more if anyone's moving in on Canada Duck here. Canada Duck and Savagey in the center have been spotted on the side of Simp. But to the north, we do have that. Is it a T1 up there all the way to the top?
No, all the way to the north. That is Captain Blood.
It is Captain Blood. And Art is able to take down Mac G. The Mac attack is on. What have they done, Greator?
What have they done? Ladies and gentlemen, Mac G, when he dies, he's able to actually instruct his team a lot better. And that they actually have a much higher win rate when Mac G dies the sooner in the game. Yep. And Fej will go down. Wow.
Now River of Blood has the advantage. They have not lost any tanks. Simp is down to their Tier 1 Cunninghams. Blue Boys Captain all the way to the north, trying to lock down Captain Blood as we said before, but now he has lost sight of him. And if he crosses those train tracks, he does not know who else is over there, either over on the hillside or even from the village, that can line up some shots against his weak armor to the rear. The 1390 Striker is spotted of the T-69s at the side of Simp. Crimson Corsair and Adroxus trying to position themselves. No, staying patient and not moving whatsoever. Blue Boys Captain is able to spot again Captain Blood as Captain Blood goes over the railroad tracks. This is a poking and prodding a little bit more from River of Blood than from Simp. Simp is just laying low right now.
Yeah, I think they can, right? I mean, if they draw this out, it's actually a win for them. That's important to note, too. It is tied 3-2. If we go to 7 battles and there is no decisive winner, then we go to overtime. But if it's 3-2 with 2 draws, it's actually a win for Team Simp. So Simp is doing it right, being patient, especially with that 5100 that throws a big wrench. The 5100 doesn't have good gun depression, which is important on this map, but it has amazing burst. And against those AMX 1390s, it's definitely a nice, I wouldn't say counter, but it's a nice response to those 1390s.
Response is a good word. I like the image that paints against these different tanks, because a hard counter, honestly, is a little bit tough to have in this game. I mean, yes, you do have stats that are better than others, but an answer to or a response to and how you use that tank is huge in the strategy and the execution, and also how you work as a team with the different tank lineups that you have. That's getting deeper and deeper into the meta, and I'm always looking forward to World of Tanks changing up with the meta. And now Endo is able to draw some blood on the side of River of Blood as he takes down Laps in the L Tractor.
Blue Boys Captain is going all the way to the north side. I think Captain Blood has to be a little bit careful in this position. He knows Heavy 20 is around here. He's seen him before, and he can easily, there he is, Heavy 20 is spotted, proxy spotted by Captain Blood. So there could be a position where Captain Blood is just overwhelmed. That's why he's backing up all the way, saying, okay, I do not want this. Is this going to be the push over the train tracks? Rootkill.
Well, at this time, there's something that's very interesting happening on the complete opposite side of the map. There's a T1 ARG. He is all the way across the map. He is getting in the backfield, and this could be where River of Blood comes back here. If ARG can get some great spotting into the backfield, hidden maybe in a bush somewhere, if he can do this, this could be victory right here, just waiting to happen for River of Blood. And here he's going to try and get into a bush. He probably, I don't know if he has binos on here, binoculars.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what he
there
had.
That goes.
Because it couldn't stop Endo's shell.
Last second, he says, help. No help.
Last transmission.
Please, I need to, no.
He is done. He is gone. Blue Boys Captain did cross the railroad tracks, trying to land a couple shots against anything he can see on River of Blood. Nothing really landed. A couple shots actually went into the locomotive, then hitting into the tank. So the wrong type of armor you're trying to hit there, Blue Boys Captain. But now Simp feeling, okay, we're on even ground. They don't have any T1s. We don't have any T1s. Now we can get some shots, and they do against Striker. Striker is hit, but he is pulling back with Captain Blood now, as the rest of River of Blood knows if they lose this, they are out. It is over for Season 1 for them.
This is so dangerous by Canada. I really, really do not agree with this. The T-69 going all the way around doing the same thing that T1 Cunningham did. Now, the T-69 does have a pretty small profile for being a Tier 8 tank, but still, you have to be careful with this, because instantly when you are spotted, when it is found out that, you know, a Tier 8 is all the way on the west side, your east side is compromised. Easily, everybody can just walk over that train track and just demolish their opponents. Now, of course, there's a lot of stipulations that with that 5100, you could say, well, that's enough damage per minute to really dissuade them from doing that, deterring them from doing that. But still, I just feel like that T-69 is a really, really big
It's a big gamble.
Gamble, yes.
Because if you are able to even turn the turrets of Simp to look the other way when they realize, uh-oh, somebody's capping us. Wait, then that means they don't have a tier 8 with them. Let's attack. Where do we attack? You have 4 or 5 beats that are happening that they have to figure out what to do. And if you can position yourself to say, I know they're going to be in this area, once you jump into that flag, let's push in, and you get those first shots on those tanks and the turrets are not looking your way, and you're able to pull back, already you have an HP advantage, and that would be huge for River of Blood right now. And shots fired against Endo. Endo is hit on the side of Simp. Again, every damage that is being done is a small victory for either team here. Simp wants to close this out. River of Blood wants to stay alive, as both the teams are shooting a couple more times, but nothing landed in the last couple seconds here.
Oh, look at this. Such cute play by Captain Blood. You can see this is actually the corpse, I believe, of his T1.
Crimson Corsair gets hit as Captain Blood does take that great position.
And he's going to use this as hold down to really make sure that he's safe.
Savage E trades fires again with Simp. Crimson Corsair, Adroxus, and Endo trying to line up anything they can, just coming over this hill next to the village. They do see some trees falling down, and you can see trees fall down in this game when an enemy hits it. And there's another shot fired against Striker. Striker at 5, or 616 out of 1100. He is now at 363. He is in serious trouble, but Endo again getting the flank on the side. Striker goes down, but Endo at what cost? He is taken down. Adroxus tries to line up the shots for the revenge kill, but cannot. As Doppler tries to land one more hit against Crimson Corsair. 36 HP to 1350, but Adroxus moves in to cover his friend. His heavy 20 hits from the side flank.
Savage E is now prioritized. He goes down, and Canada still on the complete opposite side, doing damage, but it's still very inaccurate compared to everybody else that is able to get much closer shots. Doppler's the only one left in his 5100. Guess how many shots he has left?
None.
0. That is right. He is going to be gunned down. Doppler, goodbye. Nope, everybody's clipping.
There we go. Adroxus gets the final kill for the final shot against Doppler. Canada Duck, the only one left alive. This is the swan song, the last breath for River of Blood in Season 1. They've had an amazing road. They fought tooth and nail to be here, and we saw an incredible series against Simp, who, yes, they were favored, but Simp had to earn this win. Last couple shots are being traded right now. Canada Duck hitting Adroxus. Adroxus 630. One more shot on Canada Duck. It could go down 172. This could be it, folks. Simp could be moving on to the semifinals, and they do it. Simp will be your victors.
Congratulations to Team Simp Maine. They're considered the big favorites, but I gotta tell you, River of Blood gave them a run for their money. They played exceptionally well over here at WGLNA Finals. I felt like if things were a little bit different, they could have actually taken that game very easily.
I think Simp is scared. I think this really is going to jar with their mind now moving into their next matches. And yes, I mean, it is a victory, but if you underestimate your opponents at any time, they already have an advantage against you. And maybe they underestimated River of Blood a bit in this series. I underestimated a little bit in this series. Captain Blood, as he said in the interview, you know, we've been working hard, we've been studying maps. We didn't come here to think, well, we're up against a higher seed, we're not going to make it. We came here to win. And that type of determination, that type of confidence showed in their gameplay.
Yeah, congratulations, Simp, but please, a round of applause for Team River of Blood. They've played so well throughout the season, and I can't wait to see them in season number 2. Very nicely done, just showing good sportsmanship, shaking each other's hands. You know, both these teams have so much respect for each other. As I said, they're both veterans, and they've played against each other countless times in numerous tournaments.
As North America has grown in the competitive scene for esports, it is still new for World of Tanks. You know, it is still a growing scene. The 7x42 format is a new type of gameplay in comparison to other games and other scenes that have been out there. But the type of commitment that each one of these players has given to this scene is astronomical because they want it to happen. They want to have this competition to happen because they love this game. And that, to me, is a beautiful thing.
Let's get a bit of a culmination of the match. Rukill, talk to me. What did you like? What did you dislike? What do you see going forward for Team Simp?
I felt like what we saw out of River of Blood on Proroka was really strong. It had the potential to do incredibly well, but unfortunately, it fell flat because they weren't, I felt like they held back too much, and I thought the T1 that went to the west and the T69 that went to the west should have gone there together and not one at a time, because the T1 got wasted out there, and the T69 could have used that T1 spotting a little bit more. And we actually saw the T-69 Canada do a fantastic job out there. He put out plenty of damage. You guys were, there was so much else happening, but he was so crucial, and he could have been the little tank that could have just made the match.
The little tank that could.
The little
well,
duckling.
The little tanks that could in that series was MacG and Fez. Again, Fedge, excuse me. Again, if you want to go back and watch how to play T1 Cunningham, why it's viable with flag captures and scouting positions, watch that series, because knowing your place in World of Tanks in the competitive scene is huge. It's critical. And they were able to hold out. Again, they did lose a couple battles, a couple series, but imagine if they lost that one, what that would have done to Simp's moments that were happening.
Yeah, I mean, you're on the brink of elimination here in the round of 8. Simp considered to be top 2 even, right? Top 2 next to Fulcrum. They've been like that since really the beginning of competitive play in North America. All of a sudden, these teams are clawing their way up into the top spots in North America. We might see one of these, lesser teams, considered lesser teams, overtake one of the giants that is Simp and Fulcrum Gaming. I'm looking forward to see the evolution of this scene.
I'm also looking forward to hear what Simp has to say. We have the interview ready. Let's go ahead and throw it over to the victors.
Thank you so much, guys. I am here on the couch with MacG and Endo. Welcome, gentlemen, and congratulations on your win against River of Blood. That was a hard-fought, very close series. It truly came down to the last couple of shots. So my first question for you, Mac, I'm going to ask you the question first because I don't want you to fall over and Mac attack the interview. How impressed and how surprised were you at the level of play that River brought?
I mean, as usual, I'm always impressed by, River of Blood and Captain Blood especially, at how well they do. I mean, I've been playing tournaments in World of Tanks for, over 2 years now. And over the course of those 2 years, there's only a few captains who I really respect to perform exceedingly well, no matter how they've done in the past. And Captain Blood is one of those captains in that rarefied air.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal series, going all the way to Game 7. Endo, I'm really curious, were you at any point in that series getting worried that you're approaching shootout? What are you going to do if it comes to that?
I try not to worry. I really try to stay focused, and that's all I was trying to do, just stay focused. I was not worried at all. I'm totally chill as a cucumber.
So you guys advance on into the semifinals. You will be playing tomorrow. When you look forward to the matches that could be waiting for you, what opponent do you most want to face?
Wreak Havoc. I mean, I used to be from that clan. I hate to say it, but I think they're a little bit less weaker than Scary Hard. A little less fragmented, especially since their main captain, Call Me Sarge, isn't here today. He couldn't make it. So Sniper Food has to call their battles, and he hasn't really been calling many battles. So I feel like they're more prone to weakness. I would want to face them.
I mean, I would want to face, Scurry Hard. We haven't faced them yet, and I really wish Sarge was here. He's another one of those captains who I have immense respect for, but unfortunately he's not. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to facing. Either of them will be great opponents, but I've never fought Scurry Hard before, so that should be interesting.
So, Mac, I heard a funny story that Simp had some jerseys that they were going to wear out here to the event, but lo and behold, you're rocking your blue button-up. Endo is
White shirt.
He did the PWT. Yep. What happened, man?
We were all expecting, when we got here to Vegas, we were all expecting to, to have our T-shirts, to come in, be wearing our Simp T-shirts, and so we asked Crimson. Crimson's been handling all our stuff. He's been great for us. It's been amazing to have him. We asked Crimson. We're like, Crimson, yo, where are our shirts at? We want to wear our shirts. And apparently we're too merciless, and we made fun of our shirts too much. He decided to cancel the order for the shirts because he said we didn't like them, and he canceled the order.
That's some karma, man. You gotta be nicer to Crimson, bro.
We're ribbing him too much.
So we are on the eve of the big final, and Simp is definitely one of the favorites to be playing in that last match. If you win the $50,000 first place prize, what are you gonna put it on, red or black?
Red.
I'd have to go with black.
Well, you guys just can't agree on anything today.
We can't, not at all.
Has Vegas been treating you well? Are you enjoying your time here at the Treasure Island Casino?
Yeah, having a great time. Just trying to experience it all, and I don't even know where I'm going in Vegas. It's my first time in here, so I need to go check out all the nightclubs and stuff. But yeah, I'm having a good time so far.
Well, don't go too hard tonight. You've got some very important matches tomorrow. Gentlemen, congratulations on advancing a hard-fought series and a well-deserved victory. Any final words before we throw it back?
I'm just glad it's over, the first day at least.
I'm glad it's over with too, because that was pretty intense. Tomorrow should be a lot more chill, hopefully.
All right. Well, congratulations once again. We're going to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. There's a lot more great tanks action here still to come from the WGLNA finals from Las Vegas, Nevada.